Thanks for joining us today here on America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker and Scott Kirshner. And myself, my name is Chris Swan. Really do appreciate you spending time with us today. Here's how you reach out, 419-794-3030. That's the phone number, 419-794-3030. Always online, day and night, americasretirementheadquarters.com. But let's go ahead and dive in, because I know people were watching a lot of football last weekend, and I'm sure they saw a lot of commercials from the Jimmies and the Joe Namath and things like that, because Medicare's annual election period is a month away, starting on October 15th and running through December 7th. So people are probably getting bombarded with mailers and commercials already. You know, it seems that a lot of seniors, they're reluctant to change their Medicare plans or even sit down and review the current plan at all. So, Scott, why do you think this is the case, and what do you want to say to those people right now?
Well, you're right, Chris. This is a big issue. In fact, I've had some opportunity over the past couple of weeks to kind of experience this firsthand and kind of go through, and I'm going to give some listeners some real good information today. I call it the three Joes. You got Joe Namath, Joe Theismann, Joe Montana, the old retired guys that are now Medicare eligible, and now they've added Mr. Dynamite Jimmy Walker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people hear those commercials and they see that, and the one thing that echoes with everybody is, well, it can't be, it's too good to be true, something's missing. And I will tell you, and everybody I sit down and I talk with, I go through this and I say, they explain to you that you've got no deductible, you've got co-pays, you've got free dental, vision, hearing, and prescriptions, all for the low price of $0, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is true. And they look at me like I've got three heads, and they go, what? I go, yeah, that is all true. But what you're not being told is, what do you have out of pocket? So I think the biggest issue that a lot of the seniors have today is they're very skeptical of the commercials and all of the information they're being told. What I have found is, if they are referred by somebody, a family member or a friend, and that friend is doing business, like for me, example, if they're doing business with me, they're more willing to sit down and talk with me, or if they're a current client. So this past Friday, I had the opportunity to spend some time at a local senior center. There was an event going on. It was a health fair going on, and they had a great turnout. There were 150 seniors signed up for this event, and there were a ton of seniors there. And some were just getting information. They're turning 65, and some of them were well past 65 and already on Medicare. So I took that opportunity to just kind of ask some questions and get some feelers put out there, and just kind of get an idea of what these people are thinking about. And the unfortunate thing was they felt like I was a salesman, and I I told them that that's not the case. I'm here to educate. I educate people. I do a lot of educational events. At no point in time I've never done a sales event. In all of the years I've been doing Medicare, I've never done an actual sales event. All of the events that I do are truly educational events. Right. I want to educate the seniors on some of the things that they have available. So once I explain to them that I'm just here to educate you, and I want to give some ideas, I'm shocked at the number of the people that I came across last Friday that have no idea what plan they have. I mean, they truly said, I don't know what I have. I don't know. I said, well, have you had an annual review? Has your current advisor been reaching out to you? And they said, I don't know that I've talked to anybody. I signed up for this 13, 15 years ago, and I haven't done anything with it since. Mm-hmm. And I took that opportunity to explain to them that is really probably the worst thing you can do, because everything changes every year. Your out-of-pockets, your co-pays, the drug plans. And a lot of these people had no idea what they have and have never had an annual review of their policy. So I was able to pass out a lot of information to people there, had a pretty good response with people wanting to set up appointments with me and talk about that also. But, one of the other things that I found is they're just afraid they're not as sharp as they once were. You know, some of these people are in their mid to late 70s, and they just don't understand it like they used to, and they're just afraid. They got that security blanket type thing, and they're comfortable with what I have. You know, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
And that's the mentality that these people have. They really don't want to rock the boat. They're comfortable with what they have. Some people have not even used it, which is a good thing for them. So it was kind of shocking and mind-blowing to me that there were that many people. I bet you of the 150 or so people that were there, I bet you 75% of them have no clue what they have.
Yeah. I'm not actually surprised with that because I've been in the business about 20 years, and that's one of the most difficult parts of financial planning is trying to understand the alphabet soup that is Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you come across somebody that really has literally no idea, where do you start with them? Because, you know, if I don't know anything, I'm probably going to be more apt to just stick my head in the sand and, you know, not worry about it at all. So,
you know, that's a great point, Chaz. And one of the things I do is when I sit down with someone, I first thing I do is by the way, I've put together a little over a minute 15-second short video that I send out an email to everybody, and it's what to expect in that first appointment. So they're a little comfortable then, you know, if I have someone that calls and wants an appointment, I get their email, I send that out, so they're a little more, they have a good idea what's going to happen when they get here, right? But the first thing I do is I gather their pertinent information, and then I ask the simple question. And I said, there's no wrong answer here. Mm-hmm. How much do you actually know about Medicare? And some people are well informed. They've went out. They've done their homework. Those are the scary ones because they think they know more than me. Which they said, well, I've heard this and I've read that, and but some of them just say, I know nothing.
Or they get advice from a friend or family
Absolutely.
that knows even less, probably.
Absolutely, yes. So, you know, one of the things that's important to make sure that you do your annual review with your if you have an advisor, make sure that you're getting that review. If not, I'm more than happy to help anybody with a review. You know, you can reach out to the office. You know, my direct line is 419-794-3053. And we are on the website. It's americasmedicareassociates.com. There are several ways to reach out, but I think it's very important to not put your head in the sand and to get that review, right?
Yeah, I made that a regular part of my practice too, as I'm going through reviews or meeting prospective clients. If I run into somebody that's over the age of 65, I love having somebody here locally at the office that I can maybe even coordinate our reviews around. Make sure that they know that we have a dedicated person here because it is very difficult.
Yep.
And if you blow it, you know, that's one of the worst things you can do. So take the time
Absolutely.
to make sure you talk to a professional.
So I want to take just a couple of seconds here before we get, I know we're coming up on a break here shortly, but I want to talk about the top 5 questions that I run into with most seniors.
Okay.
The first one is they come to me and they say, well, my HR people or my coworkers have been telling me I have to sign up. Even though I'm still working, I have to sign up. If I don't sign up, I'll have a penalty. I get that more now than I've ever gotten in years in the past. And I'm here to tell you that could be the case, but I'm finding that it's not normally the case. If you are working past 65 years old and you have an employer-sponsored health plan, you have 20 or more employees in your company, you do not have to sign up for Medicare. I mean, that's important to understand. Mm-hmm. I don't care what your HR people say. I don't care what your coworkers say. You do not have to sign up for Medicare if you have over 20 employees and an employer-sponsored health plan that also carries prescription drugs. So that's one really, really confusing thing that I run into a lot. The other one is, do I have to pay for Part B if I have a Medicare Advantage plan? Mm-hmm. You know, because everybody knows that Part A is free if you've got 40 credit hours. Part B has a premium. For the standard premium, it's $170.10. And for anybody that the big confusion is, if I have a Medicare supplement or Medigap, then I have to have Part B. But if I have an Advantage plan, a lot of people are being told that replaces Medicare. You do have to have Part A and B in order to have a supplement or an Advantage plan. So that's another big one that they get. I don't take any drugs, so do I still have to sign up for a drug plan? Yes. Let me repeat. Yes. One more time. Yes. I don't care if you're not taking prescriptions at all. If you do not sign up for a drug plan when you are initially eligible to enroll, and then choose to sign up later when things happen in life and you do start taking medications, you will suffer a penalty, and it is a lifelong penalty. So the answer to that, once again, yes, you should definitely sign up for a prescription card when you're first eligible if you don't have employer coverage. And then what is the biggest difference between a Medigap and an Advantage plan? Well, there are big differences. The biggest differences are the out-of-pocket expense that you have with a Medicare Advantage plan. The Advantage plans give you dental, vision, hearing, and prescription coverage included. A Medigap is your supplemental policy. That comes with a monthly premium. It has no network, so you get some coverage there. The Advantage plans typically have a network that you have to stay within the network. But there are big differences, and there are advantages to both. No play in words there, but there are advantages to both. And then the last thing a lot of people ask me is, if I do have an Advantage plan, how does that affect me if I travel? I will tell you this: Advantage plans have come a long way. They are definitely better today than they were. You have emergency services and urgent care anywhere, as long as it is a life-threatening emergency. You do have coverage for that. So one of the questions I ask when people ask me that question is, when you say travel, are you traveling for an extended period of time? You know, my parents, they would, right after Christmas, they would head to Florida. They were down in Florida until, from January usually until middle to late April. They had doctors and facilities that they went to down there as well as up here. Probably not the best thing to have an Advantage plan if that's the case, right. But they do travel well.
I know you've talked about in the past, too, if somebody's traveling and they have a heart attack, you're going to go to the hospital. You're not going to necessarily go see your primary care physician.
That's exactly correct.
Emergency coverage is usually covered.
So emergency services and urgent care are covered anywhere that you're at, as in-network as well. So that's I know we're on against a break right now, but that is some of the things that people need to be aware of for AEP. Once again, I'm happy to help anybody. They're free reviews. We don't charge anything for that. americasmedicareassociates.com is the website, or you can reach me at 419-794-3053.
And as we are coming up, like I said, about a month away from the start of the annual election period, October 15th through December 7th, some things to keep in mind. Not all plans are created equal. Just because you see one plan, they have different benefits, things like that. What worked best for you last year may not necessarily be the case going forward this year. Whether their formulary changed or you're on new medications, it's worth having a second look to see what can really work best. And this one, I think, is pretty important, Scott. We talk about it so often. What's best for you is not necessarily going to be the best plan for your spouse. Absolutely. You don't both have to do it. So having a review done to see what's going to be best for you going into the upcoming year, going into 2023, is real easy to do. Again, go to americasmedicareassociates.com. Go ahead and schedule the time to speak with Scott and see what's going to work best for you and your spouse going forward into 2023. This is America's Retirement Headquarters here on WSPD, getting you to, through, and beyond retirement. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention to the beyond side of retirement planning, the financial factors that come into play after the loss of a loved one.